a very, very, very long time. I think the last time I posted a YouTube video was 2021, before we moved to Boston, and I have not made a YouTube video since. But this video is not about my life. It's about repotting some plants because I am going to move again. So I need to repot some plants. I want to give some plants. I got brand new flowers here. So I'm going to take you along the journey and give you a life update as we plant kind of deal, and show you kind of how I'm going to replant these beautiful flowers and gift them to some of my friends. So let's get into it. Okay, first things first, welcome to my kitchen. Quite an upgrade if you remember the New York City apartment kitchen. I love this kitchen with my whole heart. And let's plant some flowers. I have two of these Fiesta pitchers, one that my mom gave me and one that a friend thrifted for me. And I buy flowers probably every week and a half, every 2 weeks. And I was gonna try to wait until Saturday when I grocery shop, but these guys are just, they're hanging by a thread. So we're gonna start with these first. And while I'm doing that, I'm gonna tell you a little life update. Vases are filled. And let me show you the color palette that I picked out this week. I always go with two substantial flowers and then one small supplemental flower. I try to pick them out based off a color scheme that I think I'll love, and I love this kind of orangey pink going on. I usually go for carnations. First of all, everything from Trader Joe's. Do not buy your weekly flowers anywhere else, unless of course you can afford it, do what you want. But Trader Joe's has the cheapest, best, most beautiful flowers. You have to go to Trader Joe's. I think this is I think these are both $5, and I think this was $3. So for $13, I have 2 bouquets of flowers. You can't beat it. So anyway, I buy carnations because they last the longest, and I just really like them. So this is the color scheme that we're working with. I've already filled my vases. Let's get to cutting and then placing inside. Okay. Where should we start? There's so much to say. We moved to Boston. Yeah, we moved to Boston about 2 years ago, which is the last time I actually put a video up. I think I actually filmed a moving vlog kind of thing to eventually edit and put together when we got to Boston. And then, we got here, new apartment, I had to finish the school year. There was a lot happening. So I did not end up putting that video together. I don't know if these actually work, but I put them in here, so let's put one in. So we moved to Boston. I love it here. I love it more than I ever thought I would. I was pretty sad to leave New York for reasons that are kind of stupid. I had always wanted to live in New York ever since I was a little girl, and I think part of me didn't want to let the dream die, or whatever that means. I just was is 13-year-old me gonna be sad that I gave this up? Stupid. You don't owe your 13-year-old self anything. You don't owe your parents anything. You don't owe your boss you don't owe anybody anything except yourself. So whatever's gonna make you happy, you just gotta do. And so I was like, Sophie, this is gonna make us happy. This is what we want. We're gonna move, and who cares? Your 13-year-old self will get over it. You lived in New York, you did the dream. It's time for a new dream. You're allowed to have new dreams. Anyway, I had to deal with that. That was a lot for me to process. Moved here, and I am never going back. I used to think that we would live here for, a couple years, and we'd eventually settle down, buy a house in New York, live in New York forever. Not the case, and I don't see that really happening for us again. It's just, I love New England. I love the vibe of New England. I love Boston. I love it up here. I feel just way less anxiety here. I don't even know how to explain it. My mental health significantly increased once we moved into this apartment. Now, there's other like coinciding factors that you could say probably go along with that, like, you know, the pandemic kind of winding down in 2021 and like being in a bigger space and a nicer, like there's contributing factors, but I cannot begin to tell you how much my mental health improved when we moved to Boston. What I'm going to do is I usually place this inside and I do a little bit of a measure. Obviously that's lame. That just looks wonky. So I'll kind of measure out how much I want to cut off. See how that'll look inside. Looks pretty good. And then I'll usually cut the rest of them to that length as well, depending, just to give myself, this probably isn't like the florist way to do it, but I'll just chip chop my way around. And I usually cut on top of a towel or a cutting board or something so that I can then just dump all that into the trash in one go and you don't have like leaves everywhere and it'll be so much better. Let's jump into the next topic. Why are we moving again? Here's the thing. This apartment is beautiful, gorgeous. Everything about it is stunning. I love it here. Would live here forever. But it's become too expensive. As you may know, Boston is the second most expensive city in the country right now. And so this place just got too expensive for our lifestyle. So we're moving to actually a much nicer, cheaper place, which you hopefully will see if I stay consistent with this idea that I'm gonna make these videos again. I put in a couple little sprags of the filler around my base. I'll put in my base flowers first, and then I'll kind of tuck around those filler flowers and keep going from there. I know that like floral design is a real science, and I do not by any means consider myself to be a florist or know how to make a beautiful bouquet, but this is just what I do to keep my flowers and joy cruising. I'm still a teacher. I teach the first grade and I love it. So I'm still a teacher and I teach at a new school that I absolutely adore and love and can see myself at for a very, very long time. I did go through I don't know if you call it like a stint or like a phase. I did this fall go through a pretty like bad kind of mental period for myself where I really was like, this is enough. I've had enough. And if you are a teacher or your loved one is a teacher or somebody you know is a teacher, you probably, or even if you just turn on the freaking news, you probably understand what is going on in the world of teaching. It's a tough time to be a teacher, and it's a plethora of reasons that I don't have to get into, but I really was like, this is it for me. I was like, I can't do this again next year, meaning like summer and then this fall, I was like, I can't go back. I gotta find something else. So I really explored a lot of things that I thought that I wanted. I really thought that I wanted to transition to something mindless and meaningless, not meaningless, I shouldn't say that. Mindless and kind of like tedious almost, but like essential work, right? Like I was like, I could be like a data entry kind of gal. Like just give me the goods. I love an Excel spreadsheet. I'll put it in there. I'll do the whole thing. I was like, that'll be my vibe, right? Like, cause then I can spend more time on things that I love, like creating content and writing and working on my book. And like, that can take up a lot of my energy if I have a job that doesn't take up so much of my mental and physical energy as teaching does. That's what I thought I wanted. I did a little bit of freelance work, just to kind of get my feet wet and see what it was about. And I hated it. I did not like data entry. Didn't like it at all. I was like, okay, just kidding, Soph. Maybe this isn't for you. Maybe you actually like your job and you're just having a tough time right now. And that's kind of the conclusion that I came to. I applied to a couple writing jobs, inconclusive there, but I was like, you know, maybe you actually like your job. And then I also thought about, okay, you got a pretty sweet gig going on. You make good money, you love your kids, You get weeks in the summer off, you get every holiday off. Yeah, taking your own PTO is like not something that really happens, but it's okay. It is what it is, right? Like, you still get a lot of benefits that a lot of other people don't get. So maybe just ride it out. And so I did. And it was tough for me to kind of come to that conclusion on my own and kind of deal with this idea that, like, I said I wasn't gonna go back, and now I'm definitely going back, and I'm teaching, and it's a whole thing. But I think once I kind of let go of like the pressure on myself, it became easier to love what I do. And when I stopped comparing myself to who I thought I was supposed to be, and I stopped this unrealistic dream that I was supposed to be doing something else and I was meant for more, whatever that means, then I kind of was able to settle in a place of peace about my job and really start to come to love it. And so I'm really excited for the next school year. We have 2 finished bouquets. This is kind of what it looks like when it's done. Oh, this color combo is just really everything to me. Like, look at how good that looks. Oh, okay. Let's chat some more and switch over to repotting my plants. Next up, let's pot some plants. Don't mind my snowboard in the back. Trying to sell her before we move. So my laundry, like, it is what it is, everybody. Anyway, so the reason I tell you that whole kind of like drawn out story about moving to Boston and like how I was feeling about my job is because of the following. Out of all of that, I kind of like was speaking to my family and and my boyfriend and being like, what like can I do to make myself feel like I am creating and I'm making and I'm like, what could happen here? And that's when Homemade by Sophie was created. Homemade by Sophie is kind of the rebrand of my website. My website used to go by Quite Simply Sophie, and the domain name and the URL is still quitesimplysophie.org. But I kind of rebranded in a way to make it Homemade by Sophie. Homemade by Sophie is a space of all things homemade, and it's coziness and it's recipes and it's creating a home, it's creating a space, it's starting from scratch, it's routines, it's life. I don't know. That's just how I can describe it. Homemade is basically me sharing things that are homemade, that I love, that make me feel, that make me feel like me. And then it moved into a newsletter, which I will have linked down below. But, oh, there's already a cup in here. Sophie, genius. Then it became a newsletter. And I wanted to do a newsletter because, I don't know, something about like the weekly content being pushed out in the form of a newsletter was something that just really spoke to me for some reason. It's just something that I was really drawn to. I was like, what if each week there was like a different, and at first it started out as a monthly not subscription, but like a monthly sending out. And then I was like, I could do this weekly. So that's what I started doing. You can subscribe to the newsletter down below if you want to see more content like that from me. A couple of the previous newsletters, just to like give you a taste of what it's about, is like there was a yoga issue, a bath issue, the birthday issue. It has things like recipes, my menu plan, different routines that I do, shopping. So sometimes it's clothes, like look for less, or favorites, or things that I'm loving currently. Creating different routines for different times of the year, like romanticize your winter was a big theme. So that's kind of where it all began, and I love it. So what am I doing? I have put a little bit of this potting soil in the bottom of these 3 planters because I'm going to be getting rid of some buds and giving them to friends to plant their own succulents. So for example, this guy is quite literally hanging by a thread. So we are just going to pull him out and he will regrow from this little tiny bit. I'm gonna need a lot more soil in there. He will regrow from that little tiny bit and like become his own little succulent guy. And I think what I'm gonna do is take the buds off most of these plants and like most of the ones that are hanging around, and then gift them to friends. And what I'll do is I will stick more around, and then they'll kind of create their own little succulent patch. There's just not a lot of room in here. Oh yeah, see him? Yeah, he's going deep in there. And so like this guy now has so much more room, if you can tell, on the side, so that now he's not gonna feel like it just was feeling too crowded. That's why these little guys grow out of the top, is because it's just too crowded of a space. So that feels so much better. So now what I have here is a brand new little guy that I can give to a friend. Did I need more soil? Time will tell. You know what I should do? Let's go like this. Dump those in. I wish I had like, whoa! Do you see this guy? This is what I meant by these guys need some tender loving care, because like he's just so crammed. He's like, I don't know where to go. This guy also accidentally got too close to my candle. I don't know if you can see that, but he's a little burnt. Yeah. Whoa, yeah. Okay. Now, do you see him? He's getting replanted. Okay, so fun fact on who taught me how to do this. That's the other thing I really like about homemade, is that it feels like a space where I can kind of pass down like the traditions and skills that I've learned from the women in my life who have taught me how to do things homemade, like my mom and my grandmother. And my grandmother, my mom's mom, taught me how to replant succulents. I was like, you can't just rip those out of there, Grandma. And she's like, no, you literally can. And so she's the one who kind of taught me that, like, in order to let something grow, you have to take it out and you have to replant it and give it more space, because eventually things outgrow where they naturally are. It's okay to have new dreams. And one of my new dreams is to keep creating Homemade by Sophie and make it bigger and better than I ever imagined. And I thought that could start with coming back to YouTube, making a video, oh God, making a video and just kind of sharing a life update while doing something that I really love, which is planting plants and taking care of plants. Is she okay in there? I don't really know, she's a little wobbly. I'm gonna FaceTime my mom after this and be like, are they good? As I'm telling you how to do it, I'm like, not so sure. Okay, she seems so much better. Oh, look at her, she's thriving now. Let's go get another plant. I still don't know what to do with her. Don't even ask me about that. Can't deal with her right now. You don't even want to see this guy. Ay, ay, ay. She really needs some new soil. Okay. Oh my God. Everything's fine. See, you're just gonna look at that. Now I have another one to gift. I have dirt all over me. Plants. Now what's happened here, folks? Actually, I think I'm gonna go like this. Yeah. This little guy has more room to grow, and I think this is gonna feel so much better. Okay, I lied. There's a couple issues here. You see her? What is going on? Like, I don't even know at this point what to do with her. She's just like falling over. Oh, dear God. Yeah. And just stick her in something. Thinking out loud. So that was kind of iconic for me to find a pair of men's pants that I jived with. You see this guy? He's like just kind of, oh, he's so dead in there. Oh my God. Oh, okay. I think I might have just really killed that one. Oh, sweet God. I'm gonna try to save him in here and give that to a friend. Also, check out my sick burn that I got. Finished planting my plants and maybe post the final pic on my Instagram, which you can check out here. Please subscribe here if you'd like some sort of new video that I'm gonna be working on. I'm not gonna commit to any sort of schedule, but if you wanna be looking for a video, maybe one will appear here. But definitely for sure, something that I never miss, something that I consistently am in love with is the newsletter. You can subscribe to the newsletter here. The link will be down in the description box. And I am so thankful for you being here. I hope you enjoyed this update of my life and watching me plant my plants. I will see you very soon. Bye.